Good afternoon and welcome to the Community Difference Plano, coming at you from my home right here in Plano, Texas. We've got a great show for you today. Juan Scott's on the show with Solnova, letting us know the benefits and options of going solar right here in Plano, Texas. Also, Janelle Twyford with the Plano Rotary Club, the original Rotary Club, going to share some exciting things, some events coming up on the horizon. Stick around, all that next in the Community Difference Plano.
Tune in to watch our communities grow. See how our citizens, local governments, churches, small businesses, schools, and our local sports teams are coming together and partnering to make the difference. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to the Community Difference, Plano, Texas, with your host Nathan Smith, and powered by the Difference live stream radio and podcast. So if you love your community and you love supporting the folks and businesses that make your community so special, then we invite you to like, follow, and subscribe to our pages, and then tune into each show to experience the community difference.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Community Difference Plano. I am your host, Nathan Smith. We have a great show today, a lot of things to catch up on, a lot of things to talk about. We are glad to be with you. I'm coming at you from my house this morning, as I mentioned in the open, getting closer to baby time. So just kind of hanging around here, helping out, doing some things, trying to be a good partner for my wife. I don't know what my grade is. We'll find out when the baby comes. So we'll just have to see about that. A couple things just want to update you guys on. We've talked about this for the last couple of weeks. If you live in Plano, obviously, really not just Plano, but all of North Texas, maybe all of Texas in general. It's hot. Plano specifically is continuing to ask residents to conserve water, which is not terribly exciting, but mainly the main use of our watering or using water is watering our house, watering our foundation. So they're asking just to do that by, here's the actual memo. The City of Plano is asking residents to increase their water conservation efforts by reducing water times by just 2 minutes. This is for people that have a sprinkler system in each sprinkler zone through September 15th. So just two minutes less makes a huge difference if you do that across the city. If you're watering by hand or watering with your sprinkler like we do, maybe just set it for 10-15 minutes less than normal. But obviously we want to be able to water. We don't want our foundations to fall apart. So make sure you're actually checking your foundation. We went out back the other day and discovered this room is an extension of our house. That you can almost the dirt had kind of started to separate pretty drastically. So we did some watering but if you try to keep that to 1 or 2 days a week, obviously that's going to be extremely helpful. Moving forward, where we should start having some rainfall. There is good news on the rainfall front. Not that I'm a weather man, but you notice you don't see all 100-degree days, which is amazing. And I think it's covered up by the Plano difference there. But towards the end here, in about 10 days, we got some really good chance of rain. So we'll see if that happens. We had a little thunderstorm pop up in our area the other day, but it is few and far between. So I want to make sure that everybody just hang on. We're in this together, right? We can get through. It's funny because, we had about 4 summers of really not very many 100-degree days, lots of rain. And I think we got spoiled. I think we forgot where we actually lived in Texas. And so it's been a little bit less friendly, but that's okay. We'll all figure it out. Couple of things that are really cool that if you go to the plano.gov, there's an emergency management survey that I wanted to bring you guys attention to. Just kind of let you go through the survey and see, where you are from a knowledge standpoint, if emergencies happen, just resources, et cetera. It helps you kind of get a gauge on where you are in terms of your preparedness for certain things that may, but hopefully will not happen, which is always our hope. Also, one of the things we prepare for midterm season, election season. Obviously, that's a big deal for a lot of people. I hope it's a big deal for everybody. We never want to tell you who to vote for here, but we do want to tell you when things are available to vote for. And obviously, coming up in November, big midterm election, you'll have different seats throughout government, from state and local all the way up to our national Congress. If you do not know who your representative is, you can go to house.gov. You can also go to senate.gov. Hopefully, most people know their senators. Others more do not know their House representative. So our House representative for Plano currently right now is Van Taylor. This is the third congressional district in Texas, covers all of Plano, some Frisco, McKinney. You can kind of see the map here. Check out, he's got a website. Again, why am I telling you this? Not to tell you what to do, but make sure that you're actually following up with who is in office, right? Are they doing the things that align with your values? Are you tracking their efforts to really make our district, which is Plano, Collin County, essentially, what we want it to be as the citizens of Plano? And so that goes from everything from, and our guest last week, Shelby Williams, the councilman for Plano, tell you the same thing. Getting involved at the local level is the first step, because local politics affect you the most, right? And then from there, you get on, in your county, then your state, then obviously your country. Unfortunately, most people do it backwards, right? They get really into country and national politics, which obviously is important, but it actually has a longer term effect, or the time it actually affects individual communities takes a lot longer than what the local level politics do. So make sure you know what's going on. Talk to your representatives, talk to your city council people. We just try to bring you information so you can make a good decision when it comes time for whatever is up for vote. So those are just a couple of things to keep on your radar as we get rocking and rolling here. At the 30-minute mark here, when we go to after our commercial break, lots and lots of events coming up. We're going to try to tackle some that are coming up this week. A lot of things going on to do in Plano for adults, for kids, family nights, all kinds of different things. So you want to stick around for that. But we are going to jump right in here this morning. We want to talk to our good friend, Juan Scott from Solnova. Juan and I are in a networking group together. We've met. That's how we met. And want to welcome you to the show, Juan. How are you doing today?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Loving the weather. Woke up. Beautiful day. Sun's out.
I heard you had eggs and hash browns for breakfast.
It's hard to beat eggs and hash browns.
Well, if you add bacon, you could beat it by adding bacon. But that's about it.
I went with turkey breakfast sausage.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that's allowed as well. Well, before we get into solar and Solnova and just some of the benefits, we had you on probably a month and a half ago. Kind of had a really good show, but didn't really get to finish talking to you. So we want to recap some stuff from there. But before that, we always talk about what things that our guests like about Plano and different things to do, whether it be restaurants or outdoor activities. And you're really into fishing. In fact, I'd love to go fishing with you sometime. We've talked about that, but haven't really pulled the trigger there. There are some spots. I don't want you to give away all your secrets. And to our avid anglers that may be listening, we do know that it is not prime time for fishing with temperatures at 1 billion degrees, but maybe preparing for the fall. Talk about some favorite spots that you like to fish when you were fishing more regularly, when it was not 600 degrees outside.
Yeah, when it's not like fish soup water, there's definitely some urban angling spots that I like. And I used an app at first called Fish Brain, and it's a free app. It'll show you basically like a map and whatever bodies of water and what people are catching there. So that's a pretty cool way to find things near where you're living. But 3 main spots that I like to go. The first one where I go the most often would probably be the dog park at Windhaven and Spring Creek. There is a small, dammed up pond that is just off the walking path, and a lot of people actually go and fish there to some extent. I was there fishing at night one day, and another gentleman was out fly fishing as well, so that was pretty fun. That is a good time to go when it's 100 degrees outside. The other area is not far from there. White Rock Creek runs along a walking trail that basically parallels Preston Road. So mainly the area is like north of Windhaven, Spring Creek area, all the way up to almost 121. Like, you can walk that same trail, will take you up that entire area. And anywhere that has a break along the shore, there's large bass and catfish in there, and that could be pretty fun. I've definitely pulled out like 4-pound bass out of that body of water. So always good to catch a fish. Doesn't have to be big.
Is there a
Anything
catch
that
and
bends the
release
rod is
requirement
fun.
in the city of Plano that you're aware of?
I mean, no, just the same statewide, like, don't fish without a license kind of thing. The only areas that you can fish without a license are from the bank in a state park because you've paid to be in the state park.
Okay. That's awesome. So we'll definitely have to get together. We'll have to go when it gets a little bit cooler, when it's not 10,000 degrees. That'd be amazing. So, well, last time we talked, and thank you for jumping on again. Obviously, we talked about solar. You're with a company called Solnova, great company. I want to kind of recap and back up because, just earlier, it's funny. I was watching a YouTube ad, and I don't know what I've clicked on. I don't think I've clicked on a lot of solar things, but I get these solar ads all the time, and I'm sure people, in Plano and even surrounding Collin County areas are inundated with, solar talk and ads and this and that and the other. Just kind of unpack some things for us. What are some really important things to be aware of when even beginning to have the conversation about solar? And I think what we talked about last time is people maybe make some assumptions that aren't true, or they think solar can do something that it can't do. Or just, I don't want you to teach us the electricity and how the electric grid works necessarily, but there's some important things to understand. So kind of walk us through what those are.
So first and foremost, it's not a like every house can do this kind of thing. It's really like an orientation based situation. So we've got to have sunlight, of course, because they're not going to do any good sitting underneath the shade, and that the area that we place them is really like beneficial as far as to what kind of output we're going to get. So we're looking for south facing roof would be our primary like spot, the most important thing that we want. And then in order of importance, like south or west facing portions of your roof, then east facing. So those three, we're going to get the best production out of just because we're going to get the most sunlight. But as far as like common misconceptions, it's not magic. So when the power goes out, solar customers without any type of backup, they're going to be in the exact same situation as the rest of the neighborhood. The reason for that is that solar is a high voltage. And when the houses produce more power than they're consuming, like everybody would be right now at 2:00 in the afternoon, it's just full sunlight. There has to be a way to cut that energy from going back into the grid. If a whole neighborhood did the exact same thing and we couldn't shut off that production, we would electrocute anybody who's doing any type of electrical work, like linemen or replacing transformers, things like that. So that is a big one. Like, yeah, the first time the power goes out and they don't understand why isn't this working, it's because it has to be grid tied for that inverter to work correctly. The other one is the common misconception is that you have to pay for this all at once. Like it's about price tag and return on investment, and really that's just not how it's structured anymore. There's so many companies that facilitate homeowners going solar, and they structure them in different ways, but they all pretty much are financing the total project, and they're billing you monthly like an electric company would. So if you view it with the simplicity of switching from a company like TXU or Reliant to, whatever said solar company is funding the project, then you're just evaluating whether or not one electric bill is better than the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And solar is, 7 out of 10 times going to be the better electric bill. The other misconception is that there's an upfront cost, with this. There's no out-of-pocket fees. There's no cost of switching. It is almost as simple as switching from one electric company to another one.
Well, I want to talk about that too after the break here in just a moment, but because I think there is a lot of misconception and misinformation that gets out there. But before we go to the break here in 1 minute, obviously Plano is on the larger Texas grid, but is there anything like you talked about like if everybody went solar in a particular neighborhood, that could be an issue. So how do you know, like, is there, because at some point, I mean, there seems to be this push internationally for clean renewable energy, but it sounds like there's not necessarily the ability to do that in mass yet. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, I would say from a supply chain issue, we would have a major issue if the adoption curve like, significantly spiked from what it is right now. So, not everybody should rush out and try to do this at the same time. But if we were to do that as well, like it wouldn't be, people charge what the market can bear. So if everybody were to do this all at once, it would no longer be as affordable and viable as it is right now. So we kind of want to like stay on the path that we're in. We're getting a lot of government incentive right now. They're actually, voting on increasing the tax credit and extending it out another 10 years. So what was supposed to expire at the end of the year is now going to most likely increase by another 4% and then carry out until 2032.
Well, let's talk more about that because I want to talk about that in just a moment. We're going to hit our first break. We'll be right back with Juan Scott in just a moment. Stick around.
The difference is made possible by the following small businesses.
Are you in the market for a new or used car or truck? Then contact Derek Wallets at Sam Pack's 5-Star Ford in Carrollton, Texas today. With Derek's 20-plus years of experience in automobile sales consulting and Sam Pack's 42 years of exceptional service in the DFW community, you will quickly understand what it means to experience the Sam Pack difference. So give Derek and Sam Pack 5-Star Ford a call today at 972-299-0028 or email him at dwallets@sampack.com.
WeatherTech General Contracting. We make your home renovation dreams a reality.
Metroplex Delivery is DFW's premier restaurant delivery service. Metroplex Delivery brings premium restaurant food right to your door. Metroplex Delivery offers uncompromising white glove treatment. Launching in McKinney and Allen. Give Metroplex Delivery a call at 469-505-0844 or online at www.metroplex.delivery. And by
Alan Lester, branch manager and team lead for the One Group, a branch of Town Square Mortgage. With over 22 years in the mortgage lending industry, Allen and Town Square Mortgage have many loan program options available from conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, and many investor and self-employed programs. So if you're looking for the best in the business, give Allen a call at 214-681-0234.
If you would like to know how you and your business can sponsor this show or others like it, please contact us at info@thedifferenceradio.com. And now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Community Difference Plano. We were talking with Juan Scott from Solnova right before the break. Juan, just talk about, because that's kind of the first thing that I wanted to ask you as soon as we pop back in here. With the you talk about the not everybody should go do this at once, but people are wanting to reap some of the value. You said you're basically trading one electric bill for another, which makes sense. Because from what I understand, in order to really be, I think people. Let me try to put this right way and stop rambling here. People kind of see solar as being off the grid, but that's not the case at all, right? In order to be off the grid, you've got to literally not be connected to a grid and have some sort of battery backup or generator or something along those lines in the event that you needed a power backup. So not being off the grid, being part of the grid. Walk us through just, you come out to a house, they decide, let's do this. Walk us through that process. Let's say somewhere in my neighborhood, I live out here in East Plano, I decide to go solar. What's the process?
Okay. So the first thing that we would do is we would make sure that everything's structurally sound enough to handle that type of installation. So send a gentleman out who, gets up on the roof. He's going to make sure that the joists are all sturdy, that, we have the type of, surface that we can install on and be able to warrant that installation. So we're just going to make sure everything's up to, engineering aspects. He's also going to measure every surface that we're trying to put a panel on to make sure that our design doesn't come up short or doesn't match, what your actual needs are. So we'd rather get in front of issues like that way beforehand instead of showing up and be like, what do we do now? What are we going to do with these 2 panels or whatever? This way we can say, with certainty, hey, this is what the estimated production is going to be. We have some companies that actually guarantee a production amount, so they're very, very accurate on what they can predict it, and back those numbers up. And then we would go through some CAD design to make sure that those measurements meet, engineering blueprints. And then an engineering firm would actually put together a packet that we submit to the city, so that they have, wiring diagrams. They know the exact panel that we're going to use, what inverters are going to be connected, make sure it fits housing jurisdiction code for whatever building we're going to put it on. At the same time, you're probably in a neighborhood that has an HOA. So once I have all of that information together, I would submit it to your HOA and see what any other type of documentation they need.
I'm not in an area that has an HOA, thank goodness. But
well, yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
They, if you were, it wouldn't be an issue there. That's just that's also a misconception in Texas. My HOA doesn't like it or they don't want it. That may be the case, but they can't keep you from doing it. So it's a House bill in Texas that says an HOA can't influence solar by more than 10%. Just change the output by more than 10%. And most of the time that means if you move 1 or 2 panels, it's going to overdo that 10% threshold. So it's not really an issue around here. As far as the grid is concerned, yes, you stay tied to the grid. So this is something that actually bolsters the grid in whatever area it gets installed on. The benefit for those homes and areas is that it lowers the overall demand for electricity. So it makes it easier for an area that might be, struggling to kind of keep the power on and eliminate blackouts. The more homes that have solar in that area, the easier it is for your provider like Encore to ship power or source enough power for that area.
Okay. So when you talk about the city, right? So the city's role in this kind of getting everything approved. Then you also mentioned to me before that in Plano, there's different types of, I don't know if subsidy is the right word, but you explain how, because we're scrolling across here, zero out of pocket. Is that initially, or just explain that? Because I think that blows people's minds.
So like, if you decided we're at your house, hey, let's get this ball rolling. We want to put solar on our home. So that's not going to be any out of pocket expense on your part. We're going to get funding for the entire thing, and you pay a monthly bill. On top of that, Plano has a program that was originally designed to boost tax revenue for them by keeping property values above a specific target range. So what they do, it's called the Great Update Rebate in Plano. It is a way for homeowners to rebate a portion of a home improvement cost. So solar falls in under that program. The thing that it doesn't do for Plano is it doesn't generate tax revenue because it's a non-taxable addition to homes.
Okay.
But it does make eligible homeowners in Plano, there's a possibility of 10% of that project coming back up to a $5,000 check. And it's not a property tax rebate where you pay in your taxes and then they send it back or they eliminate your liability. This is a little like cash in hand check that they send you. So there's a couple qualifications, and if we're in a qualifying home in an area, we'll actually take the homeowner through the application process while we're still there. It slows the process a little bit because we have to have an inspection from the city of Plano, and we can't do certain steps on our end until that has actually happened. So it tends to add like 6 weeks to the project, which is, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Right.
But it does, give that homeowner usually a check somewhere between like $3,000 and $5,000. So that's a pretty good deal for them. And that's something that that same homeowner can be eligible for a different project once a year. So it's not you use it one time at this location and that's it. 1 year you could do something like upgrade your windows. The next year you could do solar. And as long as your home still meets the criteria that they're looking for the program, you're eligible for a check again. So it's a pretty cool deal. And there's actually a few cities that were looking at emulating the same thing. I mean, Plano pays out, I can't remember the statistic. I think it's like a couple $1 million every year as part of this program. And it's just a way to make sure that all the neighborhoods in Plano have, pretty good property values. So even the people who aren't participating are still getting the benefits of, neighborhood home values staying up.
Okay. So last question here, and then share anything else that you want to add. What have you seen? And I know it's, you can't give a specific dollar amount, but, from a percentage standpoint, if you're able to install everything, they have optimal facing, the right sun, et cetera, the right angles and whatnot for the sun, the right amount of time throughout the day. What is the preferred direct sunlight to be optimal? I guess if that's the right phrase.
Mm-hmm. So I would just say that if your front door faces north, you are like a prime candidate for solar. That means the back of your house is facing south. South is where we're going to get all day sunlight because we're in the northern hemisphere. So as the sun rotates around the equator, it's always shining up at south facing, structures. And as far as like what benefits we're seeing and the type of savings that people can expect.
Yeah, that's
right
what I
now,
really
the average like new rate in Plano, if you go on to Power to Choose and put in your zip code, the cheapest that you can see is like 14.1 cents. And that would be a pretty good rate. It'd be below what Texas average paying. What we see when we're installing solar on a home and we're getting the equivalent amount of electricity at that reduced price, we're seeing something that costs them the equivalent of in between 10 and 11 cents a kilowatt.
Okay.
So it's about 30% better than the best available new rate that you can sign up on. And there's always going to be somebody who knows somebody who got signed up at like 11 cents. And that's awesome. That's the exception and not the norm.
Yeah. The rates have generally gone up. Is that just because of demand or?
So ERCOT, the Energy Reliability Council of Texas, in order to avoid another mass blackout, they're keeping 20% of production on standby. So, whatever our estimated, 100% of power needs are, that's how many power plants are actually producing. They're keeping another 20% of power plants like up and running, but not necessarily putting power in.
Okay.
So that cost of electricity is being divided by all of the retail companies and the transmission companies like Encore or your co-ops. All of them, the transmission cost of electricity has gone up pretty significantly. The co-ops are the biggest jump we've seen. So co-serve customers have felt a little bit of it. And then, in areas that are more rural, like, Tri-County customers, they're paying it like a massive jump in what they used to spend versus what they're seeing now.
Well, because I remember paying at one point 11 and 12 cents, like you mentioned, and now you can't find that anywhere. And it's been at least a 20% increase over the last couple of years. But I guess the one good thing is you don't have the power outages that you did, hopefully. And then, of course, the bad thing is the price increase. So are they working to increase capacity, though?
Just saying that they're struggling.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. But you look at their website. We actually pulled this up a couple weeks ago, and their usage is very normal. Like they're not over. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to get more funding or something. But anyways, well, guys, if solar is something that you're considering, hopefully you got some answers today. Plano's got a great program to help you get through that process. Juan's a great guy to talk to, especially if you want to go fishing maybe after the install. that might be a good thing. So reach out to Juan Scott at juan.scott@solnova.com, right? I think it's not scrolling anymore. Or you had his number was scrolling across there a minute ago. But Juan, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for making it simple and dispelling some of the rumors and myths and untruths, I guess, when it comes to solar. Lots of noise out there. But thanks for making it simple for us. So appreciate you coming on. I'll see you on Thursday. And guys, we're going to take our 2:30 break. We'll be right back. Stick around on the Community Difference Plano.
Tired of that north of the border seasoning? Thinking there's got to be more than just salt and pepper to flavor your steak? Your brother-in-law yapping that he's the grill master? Here's your solution. Goodness Steak Seasoning. It's a blend of 9 unique herbs and spices that'll have your mouth saying, goodness. What was once just for steak night for the family is now being enjoyed by thousands of families across the USA. Grab a bottle or two today at Ham's Meat Market off the square in McKinney, Profound Foods in Fairview, and at bringthetasty.com.
Alrighty, guys, want to give you some big events coming up this week in Plano this Wednesday, which is tomorrow at 9 a.m. Tickets go on sale for Beatles Night 2022. This is a big event that is actually going to be held in Saturday, October 15th at the Red Tail Pavilion, but the tickets will go fast. I think they have either 1 or 2 Beatles cover bands that'll be out there. The Red Tail Pavilion, that's October 15th. But get your tickets starting tomorrow at 9 a.m. They are going to go very quickly. This Friday, August 12th, 7:30 p.m., karaoke night at the McCall Plaza. This Saturday, August 13th at 7:30, the Capitol Downtown Session with headline The Capitol and opening performances by Lenny Nance Music. There's also a Lunch and Learn, which is tomorrow, August 10th through August 11th at 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. The Texas Sculpts Lunch and Learn. It's the Art Center of Plano. We're going to actually be talking about the arts here in just a moment. The Art Center of Plano, 902 East 16th Street. Lunch and Learn price is only $10 for that. The Psychedelic Robot, if you guys are into different types of kind of psychedelic, weird music, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. But hey, whatever your fancy is, that's totally fine. Shops at Willow Bend, August 11th, 3 to 9 p.m. It's going to be a pretty cool thing. Take part in exciting adventure and enjoy a thrilling story filled with awakenings, redemption, love, kindness, adversity over triumph. It's a whole story, whole music thing. It's pretty crazy. I've seen clips of it before. Not necessarily my speed, but that's totally okay. $26 to $43 per person, depending on what your age is. Also, if you are into chess, I've recently started trying to get at chess again. It's been a long time. The Texas Pool, which you have we've talked about here on the show, Texas Pool at 901 Springbrook Drive in Plano is actually doing a junior or premier scholar league chess on the Texas Pool deck. Just pay your price of admission to go swimming, hop out, learn some chess. It's kind of a weird combination, to be honest with you, but it's really cool. Good way to beat the heat, but also learn some things, take on a different hobby, whatever you want to do. That is going on August 11th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. If you're into quilting, I have a lot of people that I go to church with that are quilting. My mother-in-law, phenomenal quilter, made some wonderful quilts for my family, for our son, and hopefully for our newborn coming up soon. The August 12th, 9 a.m. to through August 13th at 5 p.m., Quilt Plano 2022. That's at the Plano Event Center just up the road from me, 2000 East Spring Creek Parkway, Plano, Texas. That's going to be $12. I'm assuming you can learn to quilt. You can buy some quilts. You can do all kinds of quilting. Lots of cool stuff there. So that's just coming up this week. For more events, guys, check out visitplano.com under the events tab. There's literally something to do literally everywhere, from every time, from music to arts to family fun. Plano is really good at having all kinds of things going on all the time. So speaking of events, speaking of exciting things, we are very pleased to have Miss Janelle Twyford Silvis with the original Plano Rotary Club, on with us today to give us some updates and talk about what's going on in Plano specifically with the Rotary Club. So, Miss Janelle, how are you doing this afternoon?
Well, I'm doing great. Rotary's staying really busy these days. We've got a new concerted effort.
Yeah, I picture.
Yeah, we're working with a lot of the 5 different Rotary clubs have started working together on a lot of projects, and we did the static parade for 4th of July along with the city of Plano, and then we're taking over the holiday parade and next year's 4th of July parade, and it's all the Rotary groups working together. And so that's keeping us really busy. We've not done a parades before, and the city of Plano's always deferred to the Lions Club. And the Lions Club of Plano has been helping us a lot and mentoring us and sharing information with us. But it takes a village, like way more than what Rotary has.
I imagine. Well, let's reset here for a second, because we had you on probably a couple months ago, and hope to have you on. Kind of, we talked a little bit in the pre-show about just having you on kind of a standard time moving forward, maybe every couple of months, just to give some recaps and updates and whatnot. But talk about, because the Rotary Club is an international organization, but just recap for our listeners, a little bit of the history. What is Rotary Club? And then kind of, because you guys are the oldest Rotary Club in Plano, but just what does it stand for? What it's about? What's its purpose? Give us some background, if you would.
Well, Rotary is 110 years old, or a little over 110 years old. We have 1.5 million members worldwide. Wow. We've got 46,000 clubs across the globe. And we work together, believe it or not, across the globe. And the original Rotary was a business network. And it was in Chicago, and it was put together so that people in Rotary would do business in Rotary and promote it. And after a while, it grew to the point it was like, hey, there's way more than us. This is service above self. Let's do stuff for the community. And it has grown to where Rotary has given multiple $1 million to eradicate polio around the world. They do a lot of peace campaigns. They work with Shelter Box to help people that have suddenly they have no home, the victims of Ukraine and Syria, refugees. They have these boxes they literally drop from the sky that have a tent and all their cooking utensils and shovels and food and whatever they need. It's a wonderful organization, and then we help support that. But we also support, the water and getting the proper water to different countries, and education for females in countries where that's not typically allowed.
Yeah.
And there's one particular program, and it's called Beyond Water, where they went in and they provided the water, but then the girls kept disappearing. Well, the girls weren't allowed to go anywhere, and they were never taught anything about hygiene or anything. So once they hit like 12, 13, 14 years old, they never left the house. And so they didn't get an education. And so there's a program, this Beyond Water, they go out and they help the girls, they teach them, they provide any tools, any assistance they need, but they also educate them. They give them an education. So we're involved, our involvement.
Nationwide, or internationally. So it seems like there's a real kind of synergistic effort internationally to do certain larger picture things. Talk about what are some of the ways that the Rotary Club, or Rotary Clubs, I should say, gives back to Plano and really helps the citizens of Plano through different service projects. Or I know you guys are doing some taking over some city-run parades and things like that. But just talk about the involvement you have with the community and some of the good that's done there.
Well, we have. Typically each Rotary Club has kind of done their own thing and had their own focus. Ours has always been education and enriching families. And so we always do like Teacher of the Year. There's always great teachers that do a lot of things out of their pocket. So we give them scholarships. Those teachers that are selected by the school system, we give them scholarships to help them enhance the programs. And we know that to reach that point, they've obviously taken a lot out of their own pocket to get there. We've done that. We always celebrate the coaches and bring the coaches in and help with their programs, and PISD Foundation, where the teachers can go and get supplies, and it may be laptops, it may be Crayolas. I mean, whatever they need. the foundation is out there raising money and helping provide that. So we help them. This Thursday, we are making boxes, those plastic shoe boxes for Children's Hospital. I got a call that whenever a kid comes into a hospital, to Children's Hospital, they have this box that has games and colors and Crayolas, whatever they need, but it's to keep the kids busy in those downtimes while they're waiting for tests to come back and that kind of thing. And they were running.
You guys get called you've got for multiple needs, and you just find a way to fill those needs within the community in a lot of ways. So that's really cool.
So Thursday we're doing 100 boxes just for the hospital.
Just for the hospital. Yeah. That's really cool.
I
want to show a couple of events that you guys have done and just kind of tell me a little bit about these. We'll start with back in Christmas, the Plano Christmas, or Coats to Plano Christmas Cops. Talk about that for just a second, if you would.
Every year we have a holiday party and we bring all the different Rotary clubs together, but it's got to be more than us. We don't celebrate just Rotary when we come together. So what we do is everybody brings coats, brand new coats for the kids. And we know a lot of people give to Plano Cops, they give toys and things like that. Our focus has always been coats. Okay. And we just load them up with as many coats as we can. And that picture was one where they had like 10, 15 garbage bags that size that were full of coats.
It looks very heavy.
Yeah.
It looks very heavy. Talk about your partnership with the John Caldwell and the Hendrick Scholarship.
Well, John's actually a member of our club, but the Hendrick Foundation provides scholarships for youth that they may not be the top, all A students, but they're very promising, and but they don't have the means to go to school if somebody doesn't step in and help them. And so Hendrick Foundation provides scholarships to these students and mentors, and so we step in and we help them, and we give scholarships. We give money each year. If it's volunteers, we used to have a golf tournament that we did for them, and then all of a sudden everybody was doing golf tournaments, so we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I've been in a number of charity golf tournaments. So now one of the big kind of nonprofit staples in the food service world here in Plano and helping provide meals is Minnie's Food Pantry, and you guys do some work there. Is it just a volunteer day where you guys go out there and help? Is that who's this right here? Is that Minnie? Is that a picture?
That was a project where all the different clubs came together.
Okay.
And they helped stuff bags and boxes for the people coming through. And it was just for us, it's a lot of fellowship because we get to raise the money and get together and then do something with it. And a lot of times in a meeting, we don't get to fellowship as much. So we go to these projects. It's a time for us to find out what everybody's up to.
And you mentioned that you guys kind of have taken the education sector or category in a sense that's what you guys focus on. Other Rotary clubs have different focuses. So this is a volunteer opportunity. I guess this is another picture from involving the Hendrick Scholarship Foundation. Is this a different event or just same connection or
it's a different event, different year. And you'll notice in the middle there is Rutledge Haggard. He is a huge proponent in their success and does all he can to support them whenever they have a need or anything. He really steps up for them.
So we're about to go to break here in just a moment, but before we do, obviously you guys are kind of in all different types of areas in the community and education. And that provides a ton of volunteer opportunities. Obviously, you mentioned that you're always either needing to come together with other Rotary clubs or other organizations to accomplish a lot of the things that you have set out to meet or been tasked to do. So there's a lot of volunteer opportunities. So what are some areas that are coming up that Plano citizens maybe they don't have time to give to be a part of the Rotary Club necessarily or come to the meeting? volunteer or help their kids volunteer, or do one-off something with their organization or their small business? What are some things coming up where you guys need some help in that context?
The next big thing, it will be the holiday parade, and
Okay.
we'll need
Do you have
lots.
the dates on that yet?
It will be in daytime, yeah, and it'll be December 10th.
10th. Okay.
So we would love to have volunteers come out, and that's an opportunity for parents as well as the students. And but we've already got the high school bands all lined up, and so we're real excited about everybody who's already signed up. And then in March we had our first barbecue cook-off, and we're going to do it again this year, called Texas Blues and Red Hots, and it's the police versus the fire. Who has the best barbecue, as well as teams.
A lot of argument over that one. It's very hotly contested there.
Well, the people that show up, they vote with their tips.
Yep.
Because police and fire both have their own associations, so we ask them to vote with tips. So,
okay.
And if they want to feed their own kitty, that's okay too.
So, if people want to volunteer, they just reach out to you, your email here that we have scrolling across the bottom, or is that the best way to go about that?
That's the best way to go about that, unless they particularly want the parades. And then we have a unique website called Rotary Parades of Plano, and they can go directly there.
RotaryParadesOfPlano.com or
right.
.org? .com. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to hit our last break. If you'll stick around for a few more minutes, Miss Janelle, have a couple more questions for you. Excited to be talking to you today. Stick around. We'll be right back on the Community Difference Plano.
All right.
The difference is made possible by the following small businesses.
Real property management focus. An unmatched level of service to property owners, investors, and tenants throughout the DFW Metroplex.
Katie Owen, the insurance gal, helps overwhelmed Medicare-eligible people successfully navigate the enrollment process. When turning 65, retiring, and signing up for Medicare for the first time, it can be confusing. So it's important to get guidance from someone you can trust. Katie helps her clients navigate the enrollment process in a way that eliminates the feeling of being overwhelmed and unsure, and leaves her clients feeling relieved and confident. If you have questions about the Medicare process and want advice from someone you can trust, reach out to Katie at 972-943-3943 or at her website, www.insgal.com.
When you need a trusted roofing company on your side to help you out with storm damage repair for your roof, call Cook DFW Roofing. Serving Anna, Melissa, Princeton, Prosper, Van Alstyne, and all of the DFW area.
Red Branch Realty and owner realtor Ashley Gentry are true champions at every level. As a top producer, Ashley Gentry and Red Branch Realty truly embody their mission of being your supporter and partner in your personal real estate journey. So if finding the best representation possible in achieving the American dream of homeownership is important to you, give Ashley a call at 972-342-1869.
For more information about our sponsors and their services, or if you would like information on how you and your business can partner with or sponsor this show, or others like it, just check the show description or comments for the relevant links and contact information. And now back to the show.
All righty, guys, we got about 10 minutes left. Thank you guys for listening and logging in today. So thankful to our guest, to Juan Scott, and obviously Miss Janelle Twyford Silvis with the Plano Rotary Club. A couple more questions for you, Miss Janelle. One thing that I didn't get to before the break, the different types of events that are happening, and if somebody. It sounds like you guys kind of do all kinds of different things. As you mentioned, different Rotary Clubs have different things. If somebody in Plano wants to maybe task the Rotary Club, hey, can you guys help out with that? Obviously, that happens a lot, as you just talked about with Children's Hospital. Is it a matter of just establishing a relationship, or is it usually someone that's already a member of the Rotary Club doing those things? Or do you just take, anywhere you feel like you have the bandwidth to help, then you guys are trying to be ready?
I get emails from all over everywhere. A lot of them aren't even in Plano. And then we distribute and we figure out what fits into our mission and our goals, and where do we have bandwidth. If we don't have it within our club, we'll go see if the other clubs want to do it with us, or another club has that vision and they are set up to handle it better than us. So we just share information back and forth.
So this is kind of a maybe a philosophical question in a sense, I don't know, but if you, and maybe you can share your experience, but so somebody is thinking about becoming part of the Rotary Club, what are the benefits in a sense, but more importantly, why is it important to be a part of a club, a Rotary Club, or a Lions Club? I know there's different types of clubs in Plano, but what is that? Why is that good for citizens to be involved in that way? And it might seem like a common sense answer for our listeners, but I just want to hear it from you based on your experience and what you've seen, because you've been there, I think, for quite a while from what you shared last time.
Yeah, it's different things for different people, but unanimously there's a theme, and it's about family. And I just sent out a survey back in June, and I asked people, what keeps you coming back to Rotary? How long have you been here? And what keeps you coming back? We got everything from, hey, this is my family, to this is my vacation every week. This is my vacation. But it gives people the ability to see beyond their own world and everything that's hitting us in the face here locally and get a bigger picture. And then there's always just business networking. And we do very little business networking other than we know whose businesses are in the club, and we have a relationship with the people. So if we have a question, we know we can go to them. But mostly it's about just being able to see beyond ourselves and where's there a need. And it come from everywhere.
It's funny you said that, because that maybe not exactly how we word it, but that concept of seeing beyond yourself is really what we talk about with the difference. When you do that, you're able to see areas of opportunity to serve, there's opportunity to give impact, to make the difference in your community. And you guys are doing exactly that. That's why we love having you on, and we want to have you on more, because you really are living the vision of the Difference live stream radio podcast, specifically this show. And also, I love being able to highlight exciting things that are going on in the community, when somebody deserves accolades or when there's just a heartwarming story. And I know you guys see a lot of those things, so we look forward to being able to put some of those things on air in the future as we move forward. So you kind of see the value. Obviously, different people take different things, but family is a big part of that. Everybody wants to belong. Everybody wants to do something impactful. Everybody wants to be somebody in a sense that matters, right? Which is very important. What impact do you guys feel like you have on school-age children in the sense of volunteering? Obviously, you do a lot of stuff with the school districts. We talked about that. That's a huge impact. But I guess more of the question is, do you see a lot of younger people joining Rotary or being involved in these volunteer events? Talk about that for just a second, if you don't mind.
We have a club called Interact, and it's for high school students, and they get the opportunity to come in and kind of be like a small scale and a Rotary Club. And they see what the need is in their school and what kind of impact they can have. Apologize.
That's okay.
But that's Interact, and then we have Rotaract, which is college. I'm so sorry.
You're okay.
All right. I love it.
Well, it's not a great time of the year for allergies. Really, pretty much most of the year in Texas, it's not good for allergies. So, no worries at all. Do you remember where you were at? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Rotaract is the college level, but we try to bring the kids in on projects, and everybody brings their children, their grandchildren, and we try to share experiences with them. And then we have a youth leadership camp called RILA.
Okay. Well, if you need to grab a sip of water, I'll let you grab a sip of water real quick, because I know. Sorry about. Do you remember, Lyndon? I think that happened to me on air a couple of weeks ago. I just couldn't stop coughing.
Yeah,
but
it did.
We've been there. Yeah, it happens to everybody. So before we sign off with Miss Janelle when she comes back in just a moment, there's a big event coming up. One of the partnerships, and we're going to be working to have some additional partnerships with the Plano Arts Coalition. Janelle's going to get us in contact with some folks from there. Arts are obviously a big thing, a big impact to the city. Lots of opportunities for volunteering. You can take a moment to talk about this event, Janelle, coming up, and then your partnership with the Plano Arts Coalition, but why this is such an important event coming up on the 20th.
Well, it's the Courtyard Theater's 20th anniversary. And Plano Arts Coalition is a group of 18 different arts groups here in Plano, from the symphony to the ballet to individual artists. And they get to showcase in the Courtyard Theater. So we're helping celebrate it with performances. And Courtyard Theater was a vision of Frank Turner, and he's going to be the keynote speaker. So it's going to be a night of entertainment, history, picture taking. The symphony's going to be there. Dancers are going to be there. So we were talking, this used to be was this the original high school in Plano? It was Cox High School, the gymnasium. Right.
And then when was this about, I guess 20 years ago, 20th anniversary, they were trying to figure out what to do with it. And they just decided, hey, let's turn it into a theater. And it's very like, it's really shiny and new. It's got kind of like a kind of futuristic look, but also like a antique look all at the same time. It's very cool looking. I don't know how well this is coming through, but if you just go to plano.gov, you can search the Courtyard Theater. And so that sounds like this. What time does this event kick off on Saturday?
6:30.
6:30. And if you want to get tickets, how would you go about that?
You can go to the Plano Symphony Orchestra ps.org, or you can go to the Rotary website. We've got an ad for it. Sorry.
It's okay. Somebody's really excited. So I'll just go ahead and show this, the Plano Symphony Orchestra. Here's the website here. And I was looking at this just before we got on the show. So you can actually buy tickets to every event that the Plano Symphony Orchestra is going to be involved in. And here's the Courtyard Theater event on the 20th. So you click the buy tickets link, obviously pretty self-explanatory there, and determine how many tickets you want. Do you know the capacity? You got somebody that really loves you over there, it looks like, Miss Janelle. That's exciting. Do you know
rescue? I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Do you know the capacity?
300.
300. Okay, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it sounds like I want to throw this last thing up here, because if somebody wants to come visit you guys meet at 12 p.m. at the Plano Chamber of Commerce, 5400 Independence Drive, Suite 200. That's Plano, Texas. They can call you if you know they're coming. That'll be a good thing, because they'll be able to kind of have a heads up. But if you want to just check out the Rotary Club meeting, talk what it's like, get to experience some of that interaction, meet the folks, meet Miss Janelle, and obviously get involved in anything's going on. That is the way to do that. We look forward to our continued relationship moving forward, and excited, thrilled to have you on. Sorry about the coughing fit. I know that happened to me a couple weeks ago, so that's not anything. I hope you're gonna pull through okay over there. So, what is your new rescue's name?
This is Duchess.
Duchess. Okay.
She was rescued down from the Texas border, and she was highly abused, and so the strangest sounds kick her off, and she makes that horrible sound. But she can also do it in the middle of the night, like she's having a dream. Okay. So,
yeah.
But she's all healthy and she's good. She just has to know that she's loved.
Well, that's good. That's I'm sure she's going to feel very loved with you. And I appreciate you jumping on with us again. And I know we're going to connect here and try to solidify some partnership with the Community Difference and the Rotary Clubs, and just getting some ways that we can benefit and help each other out. So thank you for taking time, Ms. Janelle. Again, looking forward to having you on as soon as possible. And we'll be in touch here in the next couple of weeks to get on a couple of calls that we talked about in the pre-show. So, and to Juan Scott, to our a good friend with Solnova, and to Miss Janelle, thank you guys so much for being on today, for providing some perspective for our Plano citizens, some ways to volunteer, to give back, some things that we're probably always wanting to know and always asking in all different areas. So this has been the Tuesday, August 9th edition of the Plano Community Difference. Thank you guys. God bless. We've got a great show next week. We'll have Angela Powell with the board of directors talking about updates for the new school year. We just had a very important council meeting, board of directors meeting for school safety this past Tuesday that will recap some of the highlights from there as we move forward. We'll also be talking about some homeschool options for Plano residents and a lot of other exciting things coming up this coming Tuesday. So thank you guys. God bless. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for tuning into The Community Difference. If you enjoyed the show, take something you learned and apply it in your community or your business in order to make the difference for someone else. Remember, the smallest change begins with a single action, but a single action can make all the difference. A special thank you to today's amazing guests. Also, if you'd like to be on the show to share your unique story and how it made the difference in your community, please contact Lendon Wilson at lendonw@thedifferenceradio.com. Until next time, this has been The Community Difference in Plano, Texas, hosted by Nathan Smith.
If you enjoyed today's show, please give us a quick thumbs up and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you don't miss our new shows airing each week. So until next week, thank you for watching and thanks for helping us make the difference.